Tuktoyaktuk was supposed to be a destination, but in many ways it became the test. 22 days, 18,000 kilometers, 2 riders heading north, and 1 loaded Tuareg carrying everything I thought I needed. That trip taught me what worked, what didn't, and what still needed refining. It also proved something I had started learning years earlier on foot. Small matters, light matters, simple matters. Now I'm back in the garage, getting ready for a much smaller trip. 1 night of camping, close to home, low stakes, and that is exactly the point. This is the first of 2 shakedown trips before the sabbatical, but this is not about packing everything I might need. It's about finding out what actually deserves space on the bike. This is where packing gets dangerous. Everything looks useful when it's still sitting in a box. Camping gear, riding gear, tools, layers, cooking kit, chargers, repair items, comfort items, the little things, the backup things, the just-in-case things. But once it goes on the bike, every item has a cost. I don't want this to become a gear review. There are already enough videos where someone points at every stove, spoon, sock, and stuff sack. That is not the story here. The story is how I decide what comes with me, what stays behind, and how I keep the bike light enough to still ride well off-road. Because the more I prepare for motorcycle travel, the more I come back to something I learned long before this bike was ever loaded. I've done the West Coast Trail twice, once with friends and once with my kid, and both trips taught me the same lesson. The trail does not care how clever your gear list looked at home. Too heavy is too heavy. Too bulky is too bulky. And every just-in-case item becomes very real when you have to carry it day after day. That experience changed how I think about travel. Small matters, light matters, simple matters. Not because suffering is the goal, but because carrying less usually means moving better. Motorcycle camping is different, of course. The bike carries the weight, but I still have to ride the bike. And once the pavement ends, weight is no longer just a number. It affects balance, handling, confidence, fatigue, and how much fun I'm actually having. Backpacking taught me that weight matters. Tuktoyaktuk taught me that it still matters when the bike is carrying it. That ride to Tuktoyaktuk became the biggest shakedown I have done so far. 22 days, 18,000 kilometers. The bike, the luggage, the camping gear, the tools, the clothing, the rain setup, the things I thought I needed, and the things I actually used. All of it got tested. And what I learned was that backpacking and motorcycle camping are closer than people think. You still have to manage the weight. You still have to pack it in the rain. You still have to unpack it when you are tired. You still have to find the one thing you need when the day has already gone sideways. And if the bike gets heavy, awkward, or badly organized, you feel it everywhere. Tuktoyaktuk proved that the system worked, but it also showed me that every trip teaches you something new. So this one-night shakedown is not starting from zero. It's a refinement. Before the sabbatical begins, I have 2 shakedown trips planned. Both are about fine-tuning the bike, the gear, and probably most importantly, my own mental approach. On paper, I'm testing camping gear, luggage, tools, layers, and how the Tuareg handles the weight. But really, I'm testing the whole system. the motorcycle, the gear, and the mindset I'll need to live from this bike for an extended period of time. For this pack, I'm using a simple system. Essential, needed, comfort. Essential means the trip does not work without it. Shelter, sleep system, water, food, tools, first aid, navigation, rain protection. The things that keep me safe, dry, warm, and moving. Needed means I will probably use it and I'll likely regret not having it. Base layers, spare socks, camp light, toiletries, repair items. A few practical things that make camp and riding smoother. Comfort is the interesting category. This is where discipline matters. A chair might be comfort. Coffee might be comfort. A pillow might be comfort. Camera gear might be comfort. Comfort is allowed. Bloat is not. If something comes with me, it has to earn its place. For these shakedowns, I'm not trying to prove that I have the perfect setup. I'm trying to find the friction. The thing I packed but never used. The tool I needed but buried too deep. The layer I should have reached for before getting cold. The comfort item that earned its place. The extra thing that quietly became dead weight. That is the value of a shakedown. Not perfection, feedback. The other part of my philosophy is buy once, cry once. Not because expensive gear is always better. It isn't. But for the gear that really matters, cheap can become expensive fast. If something keeps me dry, warm, protected, or moving forward, I want it to be dependable. A good tent, a proper sleep system, quality riding gear, luggage that can take abuse, tools that don't round off the first stubborn bolt. Remote travel has a way of finding the weak link. So I would rather buy carefully, use it for years, and trust it when the ride gets complicated. For luggage and riding gear, I'm using Moscow Moto gear, including the Reckless 80 system. But this is not a review of every strap, buckle, pocket, and dry bag. For me, the bigger question is whether the whole system supports the way I want to ride. Can I organize it quickly? Can I keep weight low and balanced? Can I access what I need without unpacking the entire bike? Can the luggage survive dirt, rain, drops, and rough tracks? That matters more to me than simply carrying more. The goal is not to turn the Tuareg into a pack mule. The goal is to keep it a motorcycle. Clothing is where packing gets sneaky. It is easy to bring too much because clothes feel harmless one item at a time. But I'm not packing outfits. I'm packing layers. Base layer, mid layer, rain layer, riding layer, a clean dry layer for camp. That is the system. A few good pieces that can be rotated, washed, dried, and used in different conditions. I would rather manage a small kit well than haul a closet through the backcountry. This is why the shakedown matters. At home, everything makes sense. On the bike, the truth comes out. Is the weight balanced? Are the tools easy to reach? Is rain gear buried too deep? Can I set up camp without unpacking chaos? Did I bring something that never left the bag? Did I leave something behind I actually needed? That is what I want to learn on a one-night trip, not weeks into the real journey. I'm not chasing ultralight perfection. I'm chasing a bike that still feels good when the pavement ends. So this is the pack. Not perfect, not final, but intentional. A small camp, a simple setup. Enough comfort to enjoy the night, but not so much weight that the ride starts to suffer. Because the lesson from backpacking still applies here. The less I carry, the more freedom I have. And the better each piece of gear works, the less I need to bring. I think we're ready. It's taken a long time, but I think we're ready for the shakedown run. And it's been quite the journey to get just here. Anyhow, let's go for a ride. The West Coast Trail taught me to carry less. Tuktoyaktuk taught me to trust the system. These shakedown trips are about refinement. What stays? What changes? What gets cut? And what still needs one more test? The goal is not to bring everything. The goal is to bring the right things, keep the bike worth riding, and be ready for what comes next. One night, one loaded bike, one more step toward the bigger ride.
Stop recording. God damn it. Stop recording.